in a minute to our new mayor, Justin Reddick.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
I'm going. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I would like to set the motion to close executive session.
I move to close executive session.
Properly moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passed. Are you all right now, Ms. Smith?
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay, you're all right. All right. My brother, you got the floor. You.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Justin Riddick, and I am the mayor of the day for the city of South Fulton. I'm a rising 8th grade scholar at Fulton Academy. Upon graduation, I plan to attend Hampton University, majoring in architecture to become an architect. I would like to thank everyone for their attendance at tonight's meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Good evening. Roll call for this evening's meeting. Councilmember Baker.
Present.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Jackson.
Here.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Here.
Councilmember Willis.
Here.
Councilmember Gomes.
Present.
Councilmember Rowell.
Present.
Mayor Edwards.
Here.
Mayor of the day, Justin Riddick.
Here.
Also, the city attorney and the city manager. You have a quorum.
Thank you. I will now call upon Pastor Warren Henry to introduce our guest, clergy person, which will then be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us all stand, if you will. To the Honorable Mayor Reddick, Honorable Mayor Edwards, to the City Council. The Office of the Chaplain would like to introduce to you our fourth chaplain of the day, Pastor Albert E. Love. Pastor Love is the founder and pastor of Boat Rock Baptist Church in the city of South Fulton. Our chaplain of the day is a resident of District 1 in the city and a strong supporter of Councilwoman Rowell. Help me and receive our chaplain of the day, Pastor Love.
Let us pray. God our Father, creator of all things, we are thankful for all of your blessings.
Yes, we are.
We are thankful for your love, for your mercy, for your forgiveness. We are thankful for our families, our friends, for our city. We are thankful for the idea of government, of justice, of liberation. We are thankful for this city council, for its leadership, for its steadfastness. We are thankful for this occasion that brings us together. We pray that your Holy Spirit will direct, guide, and impact tonight's deliberations. Remind us again that marriage matters, that prayer matters, that respect matters. Teach us anew that working together works. Above all else, the bottom line, simply put, let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you again for your support and attention. I will now turn the meeting over to our mayor, the Honorable William Bill Edwards.
Let's give the young man another round of applause. His parents are here, y'all stand up. His parents are here. The Reddicks. Thank you all so much. Mr. Baker, Mr. Reddick is out, so I think he'll son will probably follow that way.
Bless his heart.
I can tell you this, being mayor of the day doesn't mean you come right down here and do what he did. He's been with me since 9:30 this morning. Somebody go, ooh. And we had a great day. We learned a lot, didn't we? We learned a lot. So he was in a meeting with the county today. And he just, everything I did, he did. So we also had Kayla Willis. Y'all remember Kayla? Kayla was with me today. She shadowed me. Kayla is a young lady from Westlake who had $1 million in scholarships. And she's going to FISC, and her ambition was to be a mayor. So I showed her what a mayor was. If she didn't quit today, she gonna make it. Once again, thank you. We love having kids around. All right? Yeah, got me all back. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Yes, the next item is presentation and announcement. The first presentation is the American Society for Public Administration, Georgia Chapter, presents District 1 Councilmember Dr. Catherine Foster Rao with the 2019 ASPA GA Distinguished Public Service Practitioner Award.
Good evening. I'm Tanya Brinkley, and I'm the president of the American Society for Public Administration Georgia Chapter. And I'm here to present the award to Councilwoman Catherine Foster Rao, PhD, with the ASPA Georgia Chapter Distinguished Public Service Practitioner Award. Dr. Foster Rao was selected for her contributions in leadership, innovation, and operational excellence. As her colleague, I am inspired by her calm demeanor and diplomatic manner. I am particularly inspired by her dedication to keep her constituents informed with detailed current information on a regular basis. She is already very active with ASPA National Organization as well as the Conference of Minority Public Administrators. In March 2019, she was voted to be a new council member for ASPA Georgia beginning in July 2019. Congratulations and my sincere appreciation for your contributions as public service practitioner. And Dr. Christy Roberts-Lewis will read a little more about the award.
All right, good evening. I just want to share a little bit about Councilwoman Rao and why she was selected. She is the inaugural and current council member for District 1. She's also served as an at-large member of the Washington, D.C.-based Conference of Minority Public Administrators, which I am the current president, and we're happy to have her working with us. She earned a Master's of Public Administration and Doctorate of Political Science from Clark Atlanta University, where I had the pleasure of serving on her dissertation committee. Prior to taking elective office, she served as Executive Director of Operation Peace for 3 years and led the organization to development of a multi-year strategic plan, diversification of funding for the organization, and recognition for fiscal transparency with GuideStar's gold standard of transparency. She was also employed by Families First. After 1 year of employment, she was promoted to the Senior Government Grants Manager and successfully secured in excess of $4 million in government grants and contracts. We know that she is a dedicated public servant, and she has done extremely well in her capacity as the councilwoman for District 1, and so we are here to applaud all of her accomplishments today and to thank her and to salute her for everything that she has and is continuing to do in South Fulton and for public service. So we salute you.
I would just like to say to Dr. Brinkley and Dr. Roberts, I am very humbled to receive this award. You know, the work we do is, you know, sometimes thankless. I appreciate the recognition, and thank you and my colleagues for standing with me today. Thank you.
I want to add my thanks to Dr. Rao. Not only her, there's a lot of other people on this board and this council who have gone outside of the state, outside of local government, and have participated in things nationwide. You know, she just happened to be another one of the folks we have, but she's a good, we'll keep her. We're very, very proud of you, and all of us, all of you who do things outside of this area that's about people. That's why we do it, because it's about people and taking what we've learned on the outside to enhance what we do on the inside. Thank you all.
Next item is proclamation recognizing Nina Giddens Day. Councilmember Rao.
Ms. Giddens and family, please come forward. First, I'd like to say I'm so excited to issue this proclamation to this young lady because I literally feel like I saw her grow up from elementary school. And today I want to present this proclamation which reads, whereas Nina Giddens is a native Atlantan who has a heart for others and has demonstrated her passion for helping others through her matriculation at Westlake High School. Whereas Nina is an exemplary scholar at Westlake, serving as the Beta Club president, the student representative on the School Governance Council, an active member of the National Honor Society, 21st Century Leaders, Future Health Professionals, Girls Going Global, and Girl Scouts of Greater Atlanta. Whereas Nina has been recognized for her service to humanity and passion for community service by being awarded the Georgia Youth Leadership Award, Georgia Top 21 Under 21, the President's Volunteer Service Award Gold Level, and the Girl Scout Silver Award, the second highest award in Girl Scouting. Whereas Nina's intrinsic value of global interconnectedness has afforded her opportunities to study in China, volunteer in Peru, and serve as a youth ambassador in Germany. Further, Nina has been recognized for organizing a day camp to expose young children to African culture and history through music and movement. This project evolved into an initiative titled Me Africa, which Nina continues to teach today. Whereas Nina has excelled in the dual science and mathematics magnet and international baccalaureate diploma program at Westlake, Nina's academic excellence has earned her over $3 million in scholarship offers to over 50 colleges and universities, which have offered her admittance. And whereas Nina aspires to continue her impact on the world by becoming a global health advocate and creating her own nonprofit organization aimed at serving underserved communities to gain access to preemptive medicine. Further, Nina intends to continue to live her life with purpose and realize her dreams of positively impacting the lives of others through global community service, motivational speaking, and mentorship. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the city council recognize Nina's outstanding accomplishments, acknowledges her love and passion for humanity and the global community, congratulates her for caring for the least of these, and do hereby proclaim Tuesday, May 28th as Nina Giddens Day in the city of South Fulton.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so honored. This is a shock to me. I did not know I was getting this. So when I started my journey in the 9th grade, It wasn't about to get a whole bunch of recognition for applying to so many schools. It was about showing little black children who look like me that, you know, you can have options and that you can choose where you want to go to school, and that schools want you, and education is your key to turning your passions into action. And I know it takes a village to raise a child, so thank you all, Saturday of South Fulton, for being my village. And thank you to my parents, Chrissy Giddens and Willie Giddens, and my little sister Celeste for being my village.
Mommy, come on, mom and dad in the picture. Come on, sis.
Three. Three, two, and one. One more. Three, two, and one.
I don't know what y'all feeding y'all at Westlake. But between you and Kayla, that's almost almost $5 million between you and Kayla. Some folks don't get that in the whole school. So I'm so proud of you, all right? Anytime you want to run with the old man, you come on over like Kayla did today. You come on and stay with me, all right? Okay, all right.
I don't know if anybody's from Girl Scouts here, but if not, okay.
Next is the proclamation recognizing the Girl Scouts Day. Councilmember Rowland.
I am honored to do this for a couple reasons. You know, I've been down with Girl Scouts for a long time, and so I'm so proud. Girl Scout too. She travels with us. Yes. And I'm so proud of so many of these young ladies. Again, just like Nina, I saw them pretty much grow up, and I think in the top 25 at Westlake, we had five Girl Scouts. We're on that list. So Girl Scouts is a powerful, powerful organization for empowering young women. And this proclamation reads, whereas the bronze, silver, and gold awards are the highest achievements in Girl Scouts for girls who have planned and executed and take action projects in response to pressing community needs. In the process, girls gain skills in leadership, project planning, time management, and budgeting, plus the confidence that lasts a lifetime. Whereas the gold award is the highest award in Girl Scouts, it is comparable to the Boy Scouts, Eagle Scouts honor, and awarded each year to fewer than 6% of Girl Scouts. Whereas Alexis Jacobs, a senior at Westlake High School, and the salutatorium of her class for her Gold Award project created a writing rescue mission, a camp for students with a focus on constructing essays working from introductory to body and conclusion paragraphs. Whereas she targets her help on future international baccalaureate students who struggle with writing or want to improve their organizational writing skills. She held the camp sessions over 4 days and covered the different essay writing skills each day. Alexis also created information layouts that students were able to take home, also available on a website she created. Whereas Kendall Henry, a senior at Westlake High School, was recently named one of the school's top 25 students for her Gold Award project, Kendall created Cheerful Souls with a focus on helping special needs students experience the joys of cheering for their school. She knew how much the girls loved getting into the team spirit at games and noticed they often became the life of the party at the events. Where she wanted to make sure they had the proper shoes to get involved and realized they lacked the money to purchase the kind of footwear the cheer squads use. Kendall had a cheerleading shoe drive and worked with the vendor, Nifty Athletics, to help ensure the students received the shoes they needed. Whereas the Silver Award is the highest achievement in Girl Scouts for girls in 6th through 8th grade, Natalie Jacobs, a 10th grader at Westlake High School, for her Silver Award project, Natalie wanted to reflect on her love for animals, specifically dogs. After researching local shelter needs, she decided to create blankets for shelter dogs. She collected loads of fleece fabrics and handmade 30 no-sew blankets for the Fulton County Animal Shelter. Once she completed them, she hand-delivered them to the shelter and met many of the thankful dogs. Whereas the Bronze Award is a leadership adventure and the highest honor a Girl Scout can earn in 4th and 5th grade, and whereas the members of Troop 3835, Aubrey Reynolds, Andrea Jones, Anaya Anderson, Carrie Finley, Edith Durden, and Taylor Flagg, and with the Tri-City Service Unit, decided to help homeless women in the community. The 5 junior Girl Scouts collected purses and filled them with toiletries, including lotion, soap, deodorants, and feminine products. They gave them out to homeless women and those in a local retirement community. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and the city council recognize the Girl Scouts' outstanding accomplishments, acknowledges their heart for community service, congratulates them for being citizen leaders, and do hereby proclaim Tuesday, May 28th as Girl Scout Day in the city of South Fulton, Georgia. First, none of these two ladies I know for a fact are shy, so I'm going to let you make a couple of remarks.
Thank you, everyone, especially the council and Ms. Rao, for giving us this proclamation, especially me and Alexis. We've grown up in this area, so this is a big deal for us, especially growing up in Girl Scouts. And we've always just had a desire to help our community, so we're forever thankful for this opportunity and this proclamation to represent the great city of South Fulton. Hi, I'm Alexis, and I just want to say I'm very, very thankful for this opportunity and to have been blessed with this proclamation and this granted a day that's Girl Scouts Day in the city of South Fulton. And I can honestly say that, yes, I am shy, but growing up in Girl Scouts, starting in the 4th grade, it definitely helped me, break out of my shell, helped me reach out to my community members and let me know that I had more helping hands than I could see. So I'm just extremely grateful for the opportunity to have completed my Gold Award to help other people, and it was just a great experience, and it made me feel good about being able to help other people. So.
I'm not shy either. I have been the leader to these girls since they were in grade school. I think with Kendall you were in maybe 3rd grade, 2nd or 3rd grade, and it has been a joy to watch them grow. The leadership qualities that Girl Scouts provides you just can't even measure it. It's just immeasurable. And so I am so proud of the 5 girls out of our troop of seniors at Westlake. We're in the top 25, and a lot of that has to do with what they learned in Girl Scouts. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. Thank you so much for honoring Girl Scouts.
All right, 3. All right, 3, 2, and 1. One more. 3, 2, and 1. All right.
Our next item is a presentation by Councilmember Gumbs, District 2 Cleaner, Greener, South Fulton Mascot Contest winners.
I'm just awarding some great scholars. But as you can see, we have some very, very talented youth in our community. And as you all know, April, we had Earth Day. And we really wanted to focus on a campaign that will educate our youth on how to keep our city pristine. So we kind of built this program called the Cleaner, Greener, South Fulton. And they had to design a mascot. And we received over about 32 entries from all of the schools from South Fulton. And it definitely was a hard choice, but we narrowed it down to 3 people. So I do want to recognize them. And as you can tell, one of our winners was able to be the mayor of the day. That was one of the great gifts that we, even though you had to be to work at 9:30, and still going as it was going. So let's see, third place winner was given to Gianni Burton E. Is she here? He's not here? Well, you can, oh, well, come on, you still can come up. He is 9 years old, and he is from EC West Elementary. Gianni will receive a $50 gift card. Second, yeah, give me a applause. First place winner goes to Justin Riddick. He is 15 years old. He is a City of South Fulton resident of District 2. He attends Fulton Leadership Academy, and Justin will receive a $250 gift card. And as you know, he is the mayor of the day. Come on down. So let's give these kids a hand. It is so important for me to be clean and green. And these kids walked up to the challenge and they did excellent. So I thank you. We're hoping that we can turn this mascot. What is his name, Justin? Did you name him? What's his name? Is it on there? A cleaner, greener? No, I thought he had a name. No. Did you remember what your name was?
That's the next competition.
No. Okay, we'll come up with a name. But I do want to thank you all for participating. And again, this is what. All right, don't you all spend that money for the summer's up. And thank you for our sponsors, which was Comcast and all of our community members. Thank you.
You got $75 for being a mayor?
He got $250. I need his job.
And then they have the books that show.
You know, she submitted hers, she didn't win, but she's here.
She's here. Oh. Thank you. But mine are simple. The next item on the agenda is the adoption of the council agenda. And Mayor, before we get a motion for that, item number 11 needs to come before item number 10 in the public hearing. The annexation needs to come before the rezoning.
That's fine.
We need a motion to approve the council agenda. Are there any changes to the council agenda as written?
Yes, you sure do.
I would like to walk 2 items onto the agenda. They're relatively simple. There is one resolution for the city of South Fulton, and there needs to be some changes on here because that should say mayor and council. That will be opposing the heartbeat bill, which is House Bill 481. You all have that legislation in front of you. The only change on that would be mayor and council. And then also too, there's a resolution asking our city manager to explore comprehensive medical services for the city of South Fulton. My colleagues have received this information prior, so it's a pretty simple, if you can add that to you.
I entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to add those two items to the agenda.
Second.
Probably moved second. I would like to just say it's fine. We talk about transparency. We have to give people an opportunity to look at things when we have a moment. It's fine. All in favor? That passes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is approval of city council meeting minutes from Tuesday, May 14, 2019.
I accept the motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from, what's that, May 14, 2019.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded in discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor? Thank you. That passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
The next item on the agenda is public hearing M18-006 for modification of Z00-0102 at Bar Lake, formerly known as Legend Oaks Phase 2.
Greetings, council.
This is the anything?
No, sir, that's one of the last items on the agenda.
I thought we said we moved up top.
No, item 10 and 11 need to switch places. Item 11 becomes 10.
Oh, I got you. Go ahead.
Greetings, Mayor and Council. The item before you has come to you before, and we have deferred that item before on the April 23rd meeting for 30 days. The applicant asked today to have an additional 30-day deferral. Should you approve that June 25th cancellation, that item would be heard, if you're approving the deferral, will be heard, I believe it's your July 23rd meeting. So staff is supportive of the deferral, and so that would be a 60-day deferral.
Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing. All those in favor of deferral? All those against deferral? For deferral on this side. Anybody for the deferral?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I'm Larry Dingle, 2849 Paces Ferry Road. I want to say thanks to our honorable council member for the first council district for her great work and for her award. We've been working with the neighborhood association. A couple of the members of the association are here and joined me in asking for this deferral. We'd like for it to be 30 days, but I'm assuming if it's more than 30 days, is it for 30 days? We would actually ask for it to be 30 days, if it's possible. We've worked very hard, and I want to thank the schools, Councilmember Jones, for putting us together. We're very close, and I think the neighborhood association wants it to be 30 days rather than 60.
Anybody to speak against? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. So, you need to vote for the deferral?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I was entertaining a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we grant the deferral
30 days.
for 30 days. Well, here's the thing. We don't have a meeting until July 23rd, so technically it will be 60 days.
Next zoning meeting is
July 23rd.
July 23rd. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Dingle don't mind, but
Second.
We don't have any objections.
okay, we got it for 30 days. Okay, all those, any discussion? All those in favor? That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Next item is council approval of M19-001 for modification of 2006 Z0042 SFC, the Bluffs at Camp Creek with conditions.
Council, just as the item before, the applicant has asked for deferral of this item. At your last council meeting, they were asked to do a traffic study, so that has taken some time. Again, it would be a 60-day deferral for this one as well. That's for M19001.
Okay, I'll open up the floor for comment. Anyone in favor of the deferral? Anyone against? Hearing none, I'll close the public comment and entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the 60-day deferral.
Properly moved to second, any discussion? All those in favor? That passes unanimously, Madam Clerk.
Next item, council approval of M19-002 for modification of 2002 Z0012 SF Camp Creek Village Phase 1.
Mayor, this is the same applicant with the same subdivision with the same request for a 60-day deferral. Thank you.
You running folks off or what? Okay. I'll open the public hearing. All those in favor? All those against? Seeing none, I close the public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to grant a 60-day deferral. Second.
Properly moved, it's just me. You properly moved the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Madam Clerk, that passes unanimously.
Item number 9, public hearing for U18-005 for a use permit for 6375 East Stubb Road.
Mayor and Council, the item before you was originally accepted by staff on December 16, 2018. It has gone before the Planning Commission February 19th and March 19th. Those items were deferred because there were information that were needed, and so they were approved or recommended for approval, shall I say, by the Planning Commission on April 16th. Okay, so the property is approximately 1 acre. It includes 2,400 square feet of a single-family home. Has 1 curb cut on East Stubbs Road with 16 spaces available for 16 parking spaces. 1 MARTA bus stop that's within 1.5 miles, and there are no sidewalks on East Stubbs. So as you see, the property is zoned AG1. It is surrounded by sub C zoning, which is residential as well. The property, as I mentioned, is a 2,400 square foot single family home. It has the capability of having up to 8 children there based on its square footage. It will operate for 24 hours. It is adjacent to a church on the corner of East Stubbs Road and Stonewall Hill. The property seen from East Stubbs is shown on the photo as well up here. So the site is on AG1. It does allow for group homes based on the use permit that you're hearing tonight. The applicant has been in business for several years and wishes to increase the current number of children that it currently has. It already has 4 and is asking to increase up to 4. Doesn't mean that they'll have the entire 8, but they're asking to increase up to that number. The applicant is not seeking new construction or change of existing building. The applicant provided the city with information that was needed in regards to horses being stable on March 19, 2019 for the Planning Commission meeting. The applicant provided approval to keep their 1,500-gallon septic tank with the health department on the April 16th Planning Commission meeting. That was something that the Planning Commission asked for because they wanted to ensure that there was enough, that the current septic tank had enough capacity for an increase in children. So staff recommends approval of this pursuant to Article 19.420.
Okay, I'll open up the floor for public. All those in favor? All those opposed? Have a question from the council?
So what type of service are they offering at the location? The applicant is not the owner.
So I don't have that information in the package.
Sprinklers. And it was something that they said, you know.
How you doing? I'm Mario Berry with the Berry Kind Project.
Jacqueline Berry.
They do.
The 100% annexation method by OCGA 36-36-20. The property meets the 1/8 aggregate boundary requirement, which means that it is required to have a certain amount of boundary touching the city of South Fulton, and it meets that. The subject property shares exactly 267.87 feet of property within the corporate limits of the city of South Fulton, and it does meet that 50 feet requirement. Notice was sent to Fulton County. Let me take it back just a little bit, sorry. There we go. So, as I mentioned before, when you're annexing a piece of property, it's required that we also consider it for zoning. So the Fulton County property at current is zoned M1A, which is industrial. We have that same zoning. We're requesting that that zoning be transferred over to the city, meaning that it be M1A as well. The property is currently 2.84 acres. It currently has a vacant 400 square foot, one-story structure that was once used as a gas station. The accessibility for the site has Fulton Industrial Boulevard and Boat Rock Boulevard. As you're seeing here, the boundary, let me give you a little bit of an idea where it is. This is the actual property. As you recall, it's a vacant gas station that sits on the opposite side of our city limits here. The property zoned within the city limits are C1 and M1, which is industrial and commercial. It meets that requirement to be adjacent. Here are photos of the current site. You're seeing that this has a canopy, pavement, a vacant structure, etc. And that's the current dispenser island that's facing the northwest corner. Okay, and staff recommends approval of this item.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing on both of these items. Anybody for? That can move now. Come on.
We just want to clean up all this stuff. Standing there, because we have buildings just sitting there vacant from basement to sketch here. So I want to know who's going to clean it up.
The owners.
Or turn it, or tear it down, whichever they're
The
going to do.
owners would have to clean up, and code enforcement would enforce it.
Where's that in the information that we have? Because we don't have nothing. I hear what you're saying, but I don't see nothing in writing. I need something in writing, because I'm only doing it from a legal perspective, in writing. That's the court.
We have certain guidelines for buildings under our code enforcement, and we have to enforce those guidelines. Or people pay fines. All right? Anyone else? Or against? Are you the owner?
I'm representing the owner.
Come on.
My name is Ben Skaggs. I'm an architect. We're helping the owner develop the property. One of the very first things we'll do in answer to the gentleman's question is that we're going to immediately, all of the abandoned, we're going to remove all the rusty canopy, all the concrete's going to be removed. We're going to immediately get a demo permit and clean the place up. Now, it'll go under construction for about 5 or 6 months, but of course, we're going to follow the standards of the city of South Fulton with the landscaping and everything that would make it, really a nice spot. And I agree, it looks like kind of like a zombie apocalypse now. It's really dirty, but the type of property development that we'll be putting in, these people that are the owners, they have lots of nice properties.
When are you going to start that?
I'm sorry?
When are you going to start that demolition process?
I'm sorry.
When will you start the demolition process?
As soon as the plans are all ready. All right. So we'll, as soon as we get annexed in and zoned properly, we're going to apply for a demo permit. Just tear it down, take it all down.
So his answer is better than mine. He's going to tear it all down. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anybody else for or against? If not, I close the public comment section. Now, you got really confused, man. You got 2 items. You going to take all at once or what?
No, so you need to do them separately.
Okay. All right. Now the first one then.
The first one is approval of the annexation from 5955 Fulton Industrial Boulevard.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve annexation. Second.
Properly moved in second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Sound the other one.
Next item is the approval of Z19-003 for a rezoning request for 5955 Fulton Industrial Boulevard.
I move that we approve the zoning request. Second.
Probably moved to second, in discussion, being none, let's vote. That passed unanimously, and welcome to South Fulton, sir. Go tell your friends.
This is our first annexation. So this is our first annexation.
Yeah, it's our first annexation into the city. All right, Madam Clerk.
Next, we have public comments. Speakers will be granted a total of 2 minutes each, and public comments will not exceed 30 minutes. Speakers will not be allowed to yield or donate their time to other speakers. Speakers must identify themselves and their addresses prior to speaking. Speakers may only address the presiding officer, shall observe all rules of decorum. No debate, disrespect, or obscenities shall be tolerated. The presiding officer shall rule any such individual out of order that fails to comply with the foregoing. Mayor and council, we only have one for this evening, and that's Michael Shafee.
Come on up, Michael.
Hello, my name is Michael Shafee. I'm in District 4 at 7525 Hopgood Road, and I always run out of time, but I still want to say I was very impressed with the young people you honored tonight. They were very impressive. We need those people. I'm very pleased with that. On May 20th, we attended a court hearing regarding the fire at the illegal dump on Bishop Road. We had 21 representatives there. 3 members of this group were there. 1 state representative was there. The judge decided, based on the input of the AKA Tandy Bullock and EPD, that the fire was out. We're moving on to the next phase now, which is just ensuring that that he ceases accepting waste, that site ceases accepting waste, and that that removal and remediation operations take place. We still see smoke, we still smell fire, and I want you to be aware of that. There may be issues at this site yet regarding that. The committee will continue to monitor this site on a daily basis. We go out there daily, we take pictures, we continue to monitor. We see activity at the adjoining site, and I want to bring it to your attention now that the work that's being conducted is by AKA Tandy Bullock. He is active there. He is installing drainage pipes, and my understanding is he's going to be doing grading and resurfacing with the debris from the site. Now, this council has told us that he has a business license on hold. Now, we're wondering how this can take place. We'd like code enforcement to monitor this, and we'll be working with NAMA, our representative in District 4, to see that the action be taken on this.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next item is approval of council consent agenda items. Number 12, proclamation, Bell May Turner Rainy Day. Mayor Edwards. 13, proclamation, Michelle Jackson Appreciation Day, Mayor and Council. Item 14, council approval to cancel the June 25th meeting due to a lack of a quorum, the city clerk. Item number 15, anthem at Riverside IGA with Fulton County for provision of municipal services, city manager.
So,
I understand the motion.
so moved to approve Tuesday, May 28th, 2018, the consent agenda.
Probably moved to second, in discussion.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just want to know, moving forward, are we going to readjust our process for proclamations, given that we received an email about the new standards? I'm sure I'll come back and revisit that.
All those in favor? That passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.
Next item on the agenda is the second reading of an ordinance amending Title 11 Parks and Recreation Chapter 3, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board of the City of South Fulton Code of Ordinances and for other lawful purposes. Councilmember Willis.
I move that we approve the, were you gonna say something?
Yes. So Councilwoman, you and I discussed, making an amendment to this to this ordinance, and to make it easier for the council to illustrate what the change was, I just have it printed, on a paper. So this amendment includes changing, an additional section of this title, and that would be, having special events permits process
Members, like the financial committee, and then still allow each of us to appoint someone to the advisory board. We have about 17 parks, and we probably want to bring some more on once we get finished with the master plan. So that's a lot, and we need the help. We want to make sure we have resident input. So I want to increase it to 3 council members, and then each council member get appointed. So that will be 11 people. Well, mayor and council, that'll be 11. Okay, and that's it. Thank you. So do I need to make an amendment to the amendment?
Yeah, you can just restate your motion to include.
Okay, so I would like to restate my motion to approve the amendment to the amending the Park and Rec Advisory Board ordinance with the amendment I just stated.
In addition to the add-on.
In addition to the add-on, thank you.
Second.
Probably move and second in discussion. Yes. Mr. Khalid.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One I mentioned already that I'm worried about some of the precedents that we're setting up. One is, again, that we are having council people sit on boards. I've heard this conversation about us being full-time, but I just think that that's something that we need to look at. Is that going to be a new precedent when we set new boards up? Are we going to go back to the old boards and have council people sitting on them? I just want to make sure that we're not stretching ourselves too thin. The next concern I have is that there is a, I wish I had the line now, I'm sorry. All programs must be approved by the advisory board. So does that mean if someone wants to do a yoga program or a line dancing class at Creel Park, that they first have to get that approved by the advisory board and then get it approved by the council before they can do that program?
Actually, there is a provision, and I think if you would have read a little bit further, it said that we, the council, can make approval without getting a recommendation from the advisory board. The reason I put that provision in there because several of us had concerns about the programming that are in parks, and this gives the community an opportunity to have input about the type of programming that are in our parks. So I did get consensus on this from our colleagues, and that is why that provision is in there. But it also states, if you have read a little bit further, that we don't have to wait on approval from the advisory board. So if something needs to come before this council and the council needs to take action, we have all authority to do that. And the advisory board is serving in an advisory capacity. Also, as we stated, council members serving on advisory boards and committees is not a precedent that the city of South Fulton is setting. Again, I have done research, and we have 538 cities in the state of Georgia. So a lot of the things that we're doing, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, I find, when I do research. So there are several committees where, in other cities, where council members are serving on those committees. They're doing it in East Point, they're doing it in Fairburn, they're doing it in several of the metro cities. So to address, I know it's going to require more time, but that's something that the council needs to take up later. But this is a commitment. We're public servants. We're a new city. There's work that has to be done. And I'm not going to not put a committee in action because it's going to require more time.
So my question isn't, I did read the entire document. I do understand that we can skip over the permission of the advisory board. My question isn't whether the council needs the permission of the advisory board. My question is whether the department head needs the permission of a council person or a vote of council to do a program. And I'm afraid that the precedent that we're setting, that's not an advisory board, that becomes an oversight board. And so when we institute other boards where other departments will have to present their programs to council for a vote by council before they can do the job that we've hired them to do. So I just wonder if there's a problem with programming. I'm not sure that every problem that we have in the city is fixed by writing legislation. And so that is my concern. I do have one final question, and that is section 11-5003, sponsoring an event at the city's discretion. I'm not clear on what the city's discretion is. Is that the mayor? Is that the city manager? What is the discretion that decides whether or not an event is city sponsored?
Section 11.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, no, I mean, that's an open question, so either the sponsor or our city attorney could speak to interpreting that.
One of y'all want to answer that?
Yeah, so the city, for purposes of your ordinances, is going to be the collective decision of the mayor and council.
So by enshrining this, by voting on this now, does that mean that from henceforth, no programs in the park can be considered city programs without a vote of council?
Well, that's the way it already is, because before anyone does business in our city parks, typically an MOU comes before council and we vote on it. So that's the way it already is.
Actually, the ordinance says that city council will be subject to that as well, so that's why I'm asking. The way that I read the ordinance.
So, no, I think you're misreading the ordinance. The ordinance says that the advisory board shall act in advisory capacity in matters of policy and program with respect to city parks, provide recommendations through the budget process, read parks, priorities, and funding needs, explore ways to improve and enhance parks and recreation programming. Parks and recreation program under the paragraph should not deem to include parks facility, special use permits, MOUs, absent of the emergency. Park directors shall bring all parks and recreation program proposals before the advisory board prior to bringing such items before the city council. The advisory board shall offer a recommendation on any such program proposal within 10 days of their meeting at which it was considered, or shall be deemed to have no comment. And it says, offer annual reporting of parks plan compliance necessary changes. Nothing in this chapter shall prevent the city council from acting on a park related item or a proposal that has not gone before the advisory board.
You want to respond to that, Madam?
So I think, so Councilman Khalid, you're looking at two separate sections.
Yeah, I was looking at a completely different section.
Not be required to get the advisory board's approval, but it's basically an additional step, because if he's going to do programming, it has to come before the council. So this just requires him to get the advisory board's feedback, and you have their feedback to consider as well. But it does exclude the MOUs and special use permits and the facility use agreements. Those are strictly under the purview of the Parks Director. And then the section that you were referring to, which was the 11-5003, which was part of the add-on. Basically what this says is that, and this has nothing to do with the advisory board, this deals with special permit applications, and this just decreases the length to 30 days from 60 days.
And then the language that's added says, nothing in this chapter shall prevent the council from authorizing a special event permit at the city's discretion. And I inserted this here because Councilwoman Willis was concerned. She didn't want to limit your ability to approve things quicker than 30 days. So I just put this here out of caution so that you have that discretion still.
Mr. Mayor, I move to read this question.
Yes, I can move the previous question.
Second.
Properly moved second. The previous question.
Was to approve
Was
Parks
to-
and
was
Recreation
to approve.
the amendment. And the add-on.
Was properly moved by Councilmember Willis and seconded by Councilmember Gum to approve this ordinance with the add-on and the changes for appointments.
Okay. All those in favor? Pass
To
one,
move-
two.
To move the previous question?
Yes.
Yes, move the previous question. All right, that passes. And now we're gonna vote on the previous question, right? Or will you restate the previous question? So we have it right? Doesn't matter, we move the previous question. Move the previous question. I'd like to do my vote.
So you have to call for a vote?
Huh?
So now you're voting on the main motion.
Now we're voting on the main motion.
You gotta call for it, man.
I'm asking her to do it. I'm asking her to restate it.
Can you restate the vote, clerk?
The motion was to approve an ordinance amending Title 11, Parks and Recreation, Chapter 3, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board of the City of South Fulton Code of Ordinances and other lawful purposes with the add-on of Section 11503 and the recommendations for the appointments.
Okay, so we
And it was motioned by Councilmember Willis and seconded by Councilmember Guns.
All those in favor? That's 4. That passes. Next.
Next item is the first read of an ordinance creating a finance committee for the City of South Fulton and other lawful purposes.
This is a first read, so we don't have to go through all of the details, but I really think it's important that we have committees and that we have citizens involved in the committee, so we really get to learn how the city operates. So when it comes back for the second read, which it has to do, there'll be more detail. This is a finance committee that would be composed of 3 council people and 8 citizens.
And I agree with co-sponsors, council cannot support this whole.
Thank you.
She said she will support.
No, it's already on there, it just wasn't on the agenda.
Okay, good. All right.
Can I ask a question?
No, sir. After the meeting, you can.
No.
Yeah, after the
meeting
meeting.
going on there?
No, after the meeting, you can ask the question. All right, Madam Clerk.
The next item is item number 18. It's the first read of an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2018 final budget for each fund of the City of South Fulton, Georgia, appropriating the amounts showing in each fund as expenditures expenses, adopting the several items of revenue anticipation prohibiting expenditures or expenses from exceeding the actual funding available and all other lawful purposes in the amount of $386.
Councilwoman Rob.
This was,
Okay, Ms. Gilliard, go ahead.
I want to make an addition to request $15,000 from the contingency for landfill issues.
I just want to put that out. Okay. Is this the proper time to do that?
Yeah, I think we don't have to mix two things. This is for 2018 budget, and the contingency you're asking is from 2019. Yeah.
Just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Madam Clerk?
Next is a resolution to resolve land disputes with Union City, Councilmember Gilliard.
This is one of my favorite resolutions. This resolution gives the city attorney and the city manager the ability to meet with the mayor of Union City to discuss land that has been annexed and hopefully come to some type of agreement. And not just for District 4, but with other districts as well. 5 and maybe even 6 and 7, I don't know, but I know for sure 4 and 5.
Madam Clerk, excuse me. You need a resolution for that? Can't she just instruct you all?
You, technically, you don't. This is, it's your discretion, but this is something that, I wouldn't get into too many details, as far as publicly.
I'm not trying to be a deep guy, I'm just saying, that you could have just said, will the two of y'all go with Union City and talk about this?
Yeah, this is something that you can talk about privately as well.
Because one of my concerns is going to be, I won't get into this cost. And I think Mr. Khalid raised that on several different occasions. So that would be my next.
Well, if you do plan to go to executive session, maybe you can defer this until after executive session.
But I have something to say. The reason why we took this step is because the cost that's going to be involved is your time and the city manager's time, period. So there is no cost.
I don't think we need to go any further until we get it back. So let's.
So we can't vote on it?
I mean, she said it's fine. I just asked the question. Yes, we can.
So you can vote to approve it, or you can discuss it in executive session, it's your discretion.
I want to vote on this and discuss it.
Yeah, you can do both.
Okay, that's what I want to do.
You got a motion?
I make a motion that we pass the resolution of the city of South Fulton to resolve land development disputes between the city and other lawful.
Properly moved to second. Discussion. I got, I got Ms. Willis.
No, I'm okay.
What about Ms. Rowell? Why you keep up? What am I working on here?
No, we're fine.
Okay, good. All those in favor? That passes unanimously. Next.
Next item is the first read.
No. Number 20.
Oh, number 20, council approval of strategic plan resolution.
Ms. Gilliard.
Councilmember Gilliard.
There is a change that needs to be made because this was supposed to be on another, on a prior agenda, and it didn't come forward. And so section 1 says that to review it and that it should be done by May 28th. But what the purpose of this really is to put a final date on receiving the strategic plan. And so I would like to ask the city manager to bring the city council a final strategic plan by the end of June.
Mr. Manager?
I mean, I think that aligns with, we've already stated that if the council provides us the feedback by June 14th, then we would be able to do that. So I think we're on track. I have no comments on the resolution as we have exceeded the May 23rd date as we provided it on May 10th. And our publicly available schedule states that if all comments are received by the 14th, then we will be able to return it 2 weeks later, which would have been your June 25th meeting, which you no longer have. So by default, it would be the first meeting in July.
All right. So really what I would like to do would be to amend it to say no later than the first meeting in July.
Which would be, I went to July, that would be July, the second Tuesday in July, that's July 9th.
July
No later than
July ninth.
meeting in July 9th.
So you got that, Mr.
So
Donald?
I'm amending it to include
Okay.
that.
Oh, we'll,
Right.
yeah, we'll review the minutes.
Okay.
I think one caveat is, while we would be bringing back the strategic plan, it would not be the design finished, it would be the narrative of the strategic plan. But remember, you're gonna have photos, you're gonna have layout, all of those things would not be able to be done within a 2 to 3 week period after getting edits. So that's the only caveat. Yeah, that would be impossible to do within 2 weeks. That I can't commit to that. You follow what I'm saying? Your graphs, your charts, all of your edits would be, the narrative would be included, and we bring you that final back. But the shiny, glossy, ready to print document, that takes about 30 days to design. We don't have an in-house designer or anything like that. So that portion would not be brought back by the first meeting in July.
Well, do you,
Really cute.
maybe she should extend the date.
Councilwoman Roy.
Yeah, let her say.
Quick suggestion, in section 1, would you consider that, and this is going forward, since we already have a draft, either adding to that the city manager is hereby directed to annually bring to the city council a proposed status plan, status report for consideration and review, no later than June 30th.
You want to do it June 30th?
I'm saying for every year, because I'm trying to get it lined up before we get into the next budget. It could be earlier, you see what I'm saying? So now that we have a plan, we should be getting a status report annually on where we are with the plan.
So wait, are you asking the city manager, or are you asking
I
for the
really,
amendment?
it's really for all of us to think about. So now we have this plan, just consider we have the plan that we will adopt in the next 30 days. We're saying by next year, roughly a year, you're reporting back on the status of where we are on implementing the strategic plan.
I would prefer that we get past this first. And we get past this and we tie it all down and put it in a nice little neat package. And then from there, because there might be some other ideas that might pop up, and I would hate to define it in a timeline right now when we could take extra time, you know, to really think it through, since this is the first one, okay?
Now mind you, I'm not prescribing what we're saying in the plan. I'm just saying every year
I know
we're
what
actually
you're saying.
checking in.
But I would really, for starting out for this particular first one, no later than July the 9th, and between now and then, we'll have time to talk about it and do whatever we need to do as the next step. So that's my.
Councilman Khalid. Councilwoman Willis.
I agree with Councilwoman Gilliard. I think that being that this is our first plan, it is going to be fluid, a lot of changes. It's a 5-year plan. I would hate to put a timeline on something that we don't know, that may have changes or updates we need to talk about. We still haven't had our retreat. And so I would not agree with putting a timeline on it for this time next year. I agree with her proposal the way that it is now.
Madam Clerk.
Did you?
Yeah, we already did.
Did somebody second?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution with the amendment that we receive the strategic plan from the city manager no later than July 9th.
Second.
Properly, go ahead, you carry it. Properly moved to second. All those in favor? That passes. Mr. Khalid, you going? Yes. Oh, that's unanimous. Go ahead.
Next item is the first reading. First reading of an ordinance enhancing code enforcement operations, amending Title I, Administration of the City of South Fulton Code of Ordinances to create a new Chapter 12, Court Enforcement and other lawful purposes.
So this is the first read for this ordinance, and I just want to kind of give my colleagues some background. The ordinance kind of gives our code enforcement officers more authority to write citations on the spot for certain code violations. Some of the things that we have been running into is we have a very high rental community, and a lot of our citations are delayed waiting on the homeowners. So this kind of gives them the process to proceed with citations. And my main thing for this legislation is making sure that the residents know that the city is serious about protecting the neighborhoods and from those constant violators. So hopefully this will be the right step that the city is taking to get us there.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Madam Clerk?
Next item is the two add-ons. The first one is the resolution for the City of South Fulton opposing Georgia's heartbeat abortion bill, House Bill 481, and other lawful purposes. This is a joint effort of council and mayor.
So I think it's very important for our city to put a stake in the sand in regards to this. This doesn't, I mean, the policing of women's bodies and things of that nature is really disturbing to me and probably to some of the women on this council. And men. Oh, well, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. But also I think it sends a clear message as a city, because it's not only impacts women morally, but it also impacts our city's economic development. So I would like us to accept this resolution. So I make a motion that we accept.
Second. Properly moved. It's been properly moved and seconded, and Ms. Guns, I want to thank Councilwoman Guns because I pulled it off and I told her it had better impact if all of us were in agreement with it. And so she did, and brought it back for this is a council deal. Yeah.
And we are the second city to move forward.
Okay. All right, Ms. Fulton.
Kudos, Councilwoman Gums. You know, I don't like anybody telling me what to do, especially with my body. And so I also want to make mention that our Fulton County District Attorney has joined forces with other district attorneys throughout Georgia, and he will not be prosecuting any cases related to this matter. And so I am proud that we, as the third largest city of Fulton County and fifth largest city of Georgia, are taking a stand against prohibiting women from pro-choice.
All right, all those in favor? Let the record reflect that it's a unanimous vote. Where you going?
The next item is a resolution directing the city manager to explore the development of comprehensive enhanced medical services and delivery in the city of South Fulton, Georgia, and for other lawful purposes. Councilmember Gums and Baker.
For this resolution, as you all know, that the city of South Fulton is limited in access to quality health care. And what we're asking our city manager to do is to explore some comprehensive medical services options in the city with projects, and that is within budget. There's no financial impact at this time. The city manager will bring back findings and recommendations to the council.
Okay. Motion.
I would like to make a motion that we accept this resolution.
Second. Properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Let the record reflect that that is unanimous.
Next item is the April 2019 Chief Financial Report.
evening, Mayor and Council. This is the report for our April, end of April, and that's taking us our financial status where we are from October 1 through end of September. The first page that you have is showing us where we are on our revenue side. On our revenue side, as you will see that the biggest expenses we had was in December, that's the payout of our debt, and the revenue has always been above the expenses that we have. But as you see now as we go, revenues are evening out while expenses are going up. So whatever you may see in the cash flow down the line, just know that the revenue is going down, expenses will be there, actually increasing because of some of the recruitment that were on hold from October up to maybe March. Now they're filling those positions. So expenses will be going up. However, we still have got enough money to cover all expenses up to the end of September, including the budget amendment that we did, excluding the capital expenditure that is to be funded by expiation of URA. So you will see that the biggest revenue, 54% of our revenue is coming from property taxes, and 29% of our expenses are from optional sales tax. Almost 80% of our revenues are coming from taxes in one way or the other. Our revenues as of end of April, we are at 73%. You will see that expenses are lower than 73%, but as I said, expenses are growing, revenues are evening up. And here are some of the major contributing factors of our revenues. The business occupational just started in March, so revenues in business occupations are going up throughout summer. Building permits are growing, and charges for services, again, are going up. If you compare with what we had in 2018 in all those areas, you find out that we are getting more in 2019 than we had in 2018. And this is a summary of expenses. You saw that revenue was at 55%, and expenses are at 55% by end of April. And $12 million, you see here is the biggest chunk of expenses we have in this fiscal year. That was in December. We paid it out. And the rest of these ones you find out the biggest expenditure we have is in public safety, either police or fire. And the rest of them are distributed medium. 7 month cash flow. We started in October with $4.4 million. As we talk end of April, we have in the bank $17 million. However, that $17 million, its revenue is going down, expenses are still going up. We make sure we have enough money to take us to end of September. In 2019 cash balance has increased from $4.4 million to 17, that is end of April, and cash flow continues to exceed our monthly cash outflows since January 2019. However, this trend is expected to reverse course with the May summer hiring. You have a lot of recruitment in parks and recreation as the either part-time or seasonal employees. Based on our projection, currently cash projection is enough to finance all approved appropriations. Approved appropriations through end of fiscal year, that is September the 30th. This is our cash flow. As you saw at the beginning that we had the biggest payment in December, and the receipts that's in blue has been always above expenses. If there are any questions,
Any questions,
I'll
Mr.
be happy to
Malaza?
entertain this at the end of our April report.
Mr. Baker?
Yes. I just wanted to ask a question regarding the capital projects and priorities. Are we going to have another meeting to discuss the priority of those projects?
For 2020 budget?
Sure.
So for 2020 budget, we had a kickoff. However, our kickoff started without priorities from the council. So we need to have, I sent you email expecting to have either you have to discuss with the city manager, gave those priorities to the city manager, or if it's not your will, they are coming to me, I need to have them so I can put together, because now we are making the budget without the priorities.
Mr. Baker?
The question
Please,
is,
so are we going to, Mr. City Manager, then, we discussed the possibility of a retreat or something of that nature. Is that something you have in works?
Oh, so no, sir. I think we introduced the opportunity for council to enter into a retreat in June. And we did not receive any responses to the affirmative, so there have been no additional plans to implement a retreat. I think that the treasurer has actually brought back that idea over the last 2 weeks, but is awaiting some guidance on when or if that is something that the council would like to move forward with. But there have been no actions to the affirmative on that from my office or any other since the initial attempt.
So I would like to ask my colleagues how do we continue to talk about the executive session? Well, we can talk about that in executive session. It's not real estate, it's not personnel.
It's personnel. What is it?
We're talking about the possibility of planning a meeting / retreat about, like we did last year, in reference to our budget. Yes, I yield to Councilwoman.
I agree with Pro Tem. We can't discuss that in executive session. The retreat, the budget retreat is something that we're supposed to do every year. And we're supposed to talk about our priorities and come up with our 5 or 6 priorities before the budget process. This is not nothing new. I mean, this is the 3rd year of us doing this. So we need to decide where we going, when we going, and let them go ahead and.
So last year we had from GMA Kayla, and I've spoken to her, she's available, but we can't schedule the meeting without having priorities. If you give priorities either to the city manager or they are coming to me, from there we develop what will be included in the budget.
Mr. Manager, can you come up with some dates and times? He did?
He did it twice.
Okay. Obviously, we didn't see it that well. So we'll go.
Absolutely, we'll do it again and have it to council by Monday.
Thank you. There you go. Mrs. Jackson, you want to say something?
No, he had already said, we discussed about a retreat, but that's not what she was referencing. She was. Not anymore. There is no key.
Mr. Jackson, you have the floor.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, all right, good.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Your question.
Because we did try and do this twice, and sent back dates, and we canceled a meeting that would have been a good time to have it. What is the deadline? Like where in the budget process, between what date and what date must we have this retreat before I think we should just be clear about that.
So I'll defer to the treasurer on that because he actually develops the budget calendar, and so I'm sure you can fit it in throughout the calendar, but again, I defer to his expertise.
So the budget process starts with the input of the council.
Here's my question. You have your budget calendar.
I sent the budget calendar.
Right, you have your budget calendar.
Yes.
How long can we postpone this retreat before you have to change your budget calendar? That's the question.
We are beyond the scheduled period. So any delay that we are having, we will not be making it to adopting it by July, because remember, we have to present the budget to you by July. And you have 1 month to work on it.
So let me ask this a different way. How soon do we need to have a retreat?
In June, it should end June. We have to have retreat in June.
Before the end of this, we need to pick a date before the end of this month.
Yes, and before that one, you have to give us the priority so that we can schedule what you are going to discuss.
Hold it. Did you want to add something, Mr. Manager?
Yes. So I think what we could do is, again, you would get the budget transmitted to you in July, but I think what might be helpful is if we had a budget retreat, maybe that, so I guess the 4th of July would throw it off, but somewhere around that first meeting in July. And the reason why I say that is, even though we're going to transmit the budget to you, it does not become formal until September they have to approve it by September.
The budget has to be approved to the council 2 months before, and it has to be a month adopted before the beginning of the fiscal year.
Do you remember that?
So by August, we have to have presented.
Let's assume it's August 31st. I think what I'm proposing is we're all one team. And so even though the city manager transmits the budget to you, it doesn't make sense to do so without your input. And so that first week in July, since we're already, to plan a retreat in between now and the end of June would be pretty tough. If we looked at that first week in July to be able to hold a retreat, then we could take the input. All we would have done by that time is gotten all of the staff's needs, but your big ideas and priorities could still shape the budget before we transmit it to you. And it would also allow us to develop enough time or have enough time to not only finalize the strategic plan, but also give you time to identify what projects in 2020 you would like to see. And so I would propose that first week in July, and we would just understand that the transmittal of the budget we may still have to work together until the end of August to finalize it, if that works for the council.
You're proposing July 4th weekend, or the week before July 4th?
The week before or the week after? Because I believe July 4th, I do not have a calendar in front of me, but I think it's in the same week as the end of June. They're all together, and so that first full week in July is what I would be proposing. That's off the top of my head.
July, okay, if you're proposing the first week in July, July 4th is on a Thursday, and then July 5th is on the 5th and 6th. That next week is the week of July 7th. So you're proposing that we either do the retreat the week of July 7th?
Yes, ma'am.
Or you said the last week, that's when most of us will be in Savannah for GMA. Okay, so July 7th, you're proposing we do it the week of July 7th?
And that is tentative because we're talking about this today, and I have not looked at anybody's calendars or anything. And so what I'm committing to, I just want to be clear, I will follow up with you guys this week with a proposal with new dates, just as we discussed. But the target date that I'm looking at, just based off of our conversation today, is that first full week in July. That may not work for all of us. You guys haven't been polled yet. That is just my recommendation, is for us to look at that as the appropriate time frame. It's the first full week of July. It's the second week in July, if that makes better sense.
Mr. Khalid,
just want to make a note that week of July 7th is also our council meeting. We have
Understood.
A council meeting in July.
Understood.
All right, Madam Clerk, thank you, Mr. Miles.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the city manager's monthly report for April.
All right. Well, council, thank you. I will make this short. Just wanted to highlight, you do have the written report is also online and included in your packets. I just wanted to kind of highlight a few things that we put in place. I think that you have charged us to, although we have a fairly new unit, to be very cohesive in our coordination between the city manager's office, the city attorney, and the treasurer's office. And I think those things are going well and improving. We requested a weekly meeting with the city attorney's office to coordinate all of the administrative related legislation. We've had that meeting with staff every week for the past 2 months, and it's been very productive in us pushing out activities. In addition to that, it aligns with the monthly meetings that we're having with the treasurer's office. And so that coordination is probably part of the reason that you're seeing these things come to you at the speed that they are. So excited that those partnerships are kind of growing and bearing fruit. Second, I think that your conversation about the budget is very timely. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that you've charged staff with that we're currently exploring. I think the first is we're looking at the overall public works model. I think that leveraging Jacobs has been very helpful for us and helped us in our service delivery and not missing a beat. But we also want to make sure that we continue to look at that model and look at performance. And so we're currently evaluating that contract, and we'll have a mid-year meeting with Jacobs, and we'll be prepared prior to the end of the fiscal year to bring back some of those budget recommendations to you. I think the second thing that you've charged us with looking at, that we're currently looking at, is E911. And so while we cannot commit to bringing E911 in-house in FY20, we do believe that we could do so in FY21. And so in the next budget year, we'll be looking at how do we evaluate that transition and prepare to not only meet the needs to bring it in-house, but also make it revenue generating. The third is looking at animal control, and as promised, how could we potentially bring that in-house in FY20 or FY21? So exploring those opportunities are some things that staff is looking at that kind of meets what you guys have required, as well as some of the big picture ideas that you brought forward. I think you heard from one of them, from Councilmember Gumbs today, about exploring our, Councilmember Gumbs and Councilmember Baker, regarding our medical use within the city. And so we're exploring those things. I think one other big picture idea that we wanted to bring back before the council is establishing at some point public utility services within the city. And specifically when looking at public utility services is looking at phone, internet, and I'm not sure if cable falls into that, but those types of activities. Had a call and have a follow-up with Sandy Springs, who has looked at those activities, and to make something like that profitable or revenue generating for the city, you only have to have about 3,000 3 to 5,000 households, and you would be able to offer it throughout the entire city and lower the cost to our residents for those services. So we'll be bringing back that exploration as a part of this process as well. I think we talked about the strategic plan already, and we are focused on meeting all of the deadlines that you've put in place. I also just wanted to highlight, and I don't have the dollar amount, Mr. Valenzuela or Ms. Winfield will be able to help me with that shortly, or in the correspondence we'll send you, but the city has acquired LMIG funding specifically for the sinkhole issues that we inherited through our transition of Fulton County. I believe it is close to about $1 million. I may be overstating that, but we'll be providing you official correspondence and notification. That's a very big deal for us and our residents, because we won't have to take on that cost. I do want to just highlight a couple of other things quickly. June 7th, your city is the first in the state to partner with GMA and deliver professional development All 20 of our senior staff members have successfully completed it, and so their graduation is June 7th. I know we sent out some information, but I think it's worthy to highlight because that's another one of those things that only the city of South Fulton is doing in the state, even though we're the youngest city. And I think the final piece is in regards to sanitation. I know that the council is still exploring some of those activities, but I always like to kind of highlight when there are contentious issues that you guys take on head first and have great outputs. And so a couple of months ago, about a month ago, we were at 62% compliance even prior to the penalties. We are awaiting the final quarter to see where we are now, but we got a big boost recently when Councilmember Baker partnered with Waste Industries, and they have offered the lowest rate of any provider, and they've also decided to do that citywide. I will defer to him to kind of discuss that in detail if he'd like, although we're preparing a memo. But it is a low rate across the city.
Really quick, I think it started at Oakley Township because they have a covenant. The HOA board was able to negotiate a meeting with Maggie Sweeney from Waste Industry, and they were able to negotiate the price down for $14.95 for weekly pickup. $17 was actually the rate for bulk once a month. Recycling, as well as yard trimmings twice a month. So that was a $17 rate. And so for my district, I eventually negotiated a rate a little bit above that at $19 for Waste Industries to do the same thing for everybody in District 7. And ultimately, after getting with the city manager and the connection with Miss Maggie Sweeney, they opened it up to the whole city, so that now everybody in the city, if you call and ask for the city of South Fulton code, and the people in 7 used to call for Baker, but now if you just call and say the city of South Fulton code, they'll allow you to have that $19.85 rate, whereas monthly you'll get bulk, you'll get yard trimmings twice a month, and you'll get recycling as well as your normal pickup for $19.85.
Right, that's the last one.
I think the final item is that there was some confusion related to the budget presentation earlier today, and I just wanted to kind of highlight something so that it doesn't get lost. While the revenues that we have brought in, the county reduced our overall tax digest, and the collection season is about over. And so while we've collected about 75% of the total revenues that we would collect, I want to highlight just the good management and good stewardship between the council and administrative staff, that while that is the case, we have expended less than 50% of our total budget while providing a higher level of service. And so I think that is something that has to be noted and recognized, because we have done that to date while also paying off the TAN in full, which was one of the bigger expenditures, as well as the T-SPLOST and other grant-related activities are expenditures that you cannot avoid. And so I think that represents your good stewardship and our good management and a great partnership at the City of South Fulton. So I think that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Madden.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, ma'am.
And I guess I'm going back to sanitation. So are you saying, based on what Mayor Pro Tem said, that we're just gonna do whatever with waste?
Oh, no.
No, it's optional. You don't have to do it.
I think to give you some clarity, I think what we're highlighting is that you have a 62% at the end of the last quarter compliance rate. And now that's the most recent effort, but all of you have kind of held town halls and put the word out. We expect that to be a much higher compliance rate And now people have options when you compare just that, and it's sub $20, but we'll call it $20 rate that they get there. They actually have one of the lower fee options in the region for waste that combines everything, and our market is competitive. So I just think that's a good job having to make a tough decision very quickly. So I wanted to not only highlight that, I know you guys get it in the report, but sometimes our citizens don't know the outcomes of your decisions, and I think that's turned out to date to be a good one,
Well,
even as you look at
but
improving
they
it.
just started doing both.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. I think, again, as you look at the model, it'll continue to get better.
All right, we'll close the session out with Councilwoman.
I think I have to agree with Councilwoman Jackson that it's a great job. However, I still think we need to pull the ordinance, we need to bring the sanitation ordinance back, and I'm already working with the mayor with it, and it needs to be a competitive process, competitive RFP process, because essentially I appreciate them working with the city piece by piece, but the entire city does not have that rate, and then even with that rate, that's kind of like,
the entire city has
That's
that
the
rate.
point.
but that's still monopolizing the market, and I think it needs to be a fair, competitive process.
So, I guess I want to just.
I'd like to respond.
Well, and I think the point is not to determine what model the council chooses. The council chooses whatever model they like. I think what's really good about what is happening with the process we have now, you now have the data so that when you create your RFP, or if you change the model, or if you keep the model and adjust it, you now have all of the information, resources, and capabilities of what's in the market, and you can make your decision effectively after a period of time of evaluating. I think part of the challenge that we had as a new city, we didn't have any data and information, and now you do. So I, again, would not get into the decisions that you'll make on the model. I think your efforts to make sure we have something that citizens can access has worked, and so I think that's a very good thing for all of us.
All right, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor and Council, that ends the council agenda.
I move that we go into executive session, to recess an executive session for personnel.
All right, probably move certain. All those in favor? Executive session for personnel.
Motion to reconvene.
Motion to reconvene, I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to, what is it?
Reconvene.
Reconvene.
Probably move.
Second.
Probably move second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We reconvene. Now I need a motion to.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
We don't have.
Discussion.
Run that motion, girl.
Attorney, did we have an action?
We have any action?
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Actions.
I did not close the executive session, didn't
Yes.
I? Yes, all right. All in favor of leaving here, let's go.
No.
Okay. Let's go.
So have we made a motion in
Who seconded the motion to adjourn?
I second it. You call me.